If God is all loving, isn't it a contradiction then when God says that Jacob he loved and Esau he hated, as we see in Malachi 1? Isn't this a contradiction? Well, I don't believe it's a contradiction for two reasons, and here's the first. When God says Esau he hated, he's actually not referring to the individual Esau, but rather to the nation that sprung from his descendants. And the reason why God was, of course, opposed to Edom is because Edom was opposed to Israel and to God's promises. So in reality, God's not saying he's hating the person Esau, but rather the nation of Edom that sprung from his people. And the second reason why this is not a contradiction is because oftentimes an English word that we read in the Bible carries with it a connotation that is not necessarily expressed in the original language, in the Greek, Hebrew, or Aramaic. So take, for example, the word mystery that we often read in the English Bible. When we think of the word mystery, often it has a connotation of being something that's incomprehensible or unexplainable, and that's what we mean by mystery. But when you look at the original word used in the Bible for mystery, it doesn't have that same connotation. In fact, oftentimes mystery simply means something that is not known by man, but then is later revealed by God through special revelation. And so you see here that the English word for mystery has a different connotation than the original biblical word. Now the same is true with the word hate. Often when we use the word hate in English, it carries with it a connotation of antipathy or vitriolic anger or disgust. But this is not the connotation that's implied with the biblical word. Rather, the word hate, biblically speaking, is not giving special privilege or protection to a certain group. And so with the case of Jacob and Esau, of which arose the people of Israel and the Edomites, God is saying, yeah, I hate Esau, meaning the nation is not going to be privileged and protected in the same way he did with Israel. And the reason is because Edom had no place in redemptive history. But with Israel, they did have a place in redemptive history. In fact, Paul in Romans 9 also quotes this passage where he says God hated Esau but loved Jacob. And even in this particular instance, you see that Paul is referring to the special privilege that Israel has in light of God's promises and protections to Israel. So this is why it's not a contradiction.